Welcome to the Free Minds podcast, where truth, healing, and consciousness comes together. Your host Shine created this space to free your mind, elevate your spirit, and inspire real conversation. Every episode explores growth, healing, spirituality, relationships, truth uncensored and honest. So join us on this journey to heal and awaken the powers within you. This is Free Minds podcast. Let's free our mind.
Welcome back to another episode of Free Minds Podcast. I'm glad all you guys can join me this evening, and I hope you guys' day has been well. Today is September 15th, 2025, and I am back with another episode for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my episode about being present, and I hope that it brought a lot of clarity in your mind about how being present and showing up really does have a great impact on your day. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to break free from limitations. We're going to elevate our conscious, and we're going to move closer to our true purpose, okay? I know you're like, how are we going to do that? But stay tuned so you can see. I'm your host, Shine, and this has been another inspiration for you. So, first off, today we are talking about living in your higher self. And I know everybody is like, what is that? But if you stay tuned, you can find out exactly what living in your higher self is and what is your higher self. How do you live in your higher self? What does it look like? Why is it important? So let's go ahead and tune in and talk about this. So first, let's go ahead and talk about what is the higher self. The higher self is a version of you that's aligned with truth, love, peace, and purpose. It's not driven by fear or ego. It's guided by wisdom, clarity, and intuition. So, sometimes you have this feeling of, oh, I should have followed my first mind. That's your higher self. If you have that quick message in your brain like, oh, okay, I need to be doing this, or about some important knowledge, that's your higher self speaking to you. Okay, so see, the higher self sees beyond temporary pleasures and look towards growth, healing, and legacy. So your higher self is going to push you towards growth, it's going to push you towards healing, and it's going to push you towards creating a legacy for yourself, okay? So this is how we can recognize our higher self, is when we are dealing in wisdom, when we are dealing in clarity, when we are dealing in intuition, when we are dealing in love, peace, truth, and purpose. These are the things that God wants us to deal in. Okay, if you are a person that has renewed your mind as God called us to, you will be walking in these things. Now, it's the part of you that says, I want better and I'm willing to work to get better. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Like, I remember myself last year, I cried hard because I wanted to learn how to love myself. I wanted to learn true love. I wanted to learn that love that Jesus offered, that he came and gave us. I wanted that love. I wanted to understand that. And God specifically told me, in order to embody this love and understand it, you have to learn to love yourself first. Because you can't be something to somebody else or give something to somebody else that you don't have to give. So we must start by leading in love. We must start by learning how to love ourselves. And we also must lead with, I want better and I'm willing to work to get there. Now, if y'all see me glancing off here to my left, it's because I do have my notes for the show. And I love to be able to have my notes right here so I'm not all over the place, so I can keep you guys' attention and I can keep you guys aligned and keep you guys not all over the place with confusion. Because, as we know, God is not a God of confusion. And, he's a God of order. So we are going to do things in decent and in order. Anyway, so now that we talked about what is higher self, let's go ahead and talk about signs that you're living in your higher self. So these are signs to be able to tell you, this is your higher self speaking. This is your higher self that is operating in your mind. And a part of renewing your mind is being able to sort out what voice you hear in your head. Yes, I said voices. There's voices in your head. You don't believe me? Go sit with yourself for 5 minutes in silence. Just completely sit in silence and be quiet. And what you're going to hear talking. You're going to be like, who the hell is that talking? Because it's sure not me. It's your higher self. It's your higher self. And there's a lower version of you too that talks. And this is the version where you get your ideals, where we say, oh, the devil made me do that. The devil made me think that. This, that, and the fourth. This is that. And this is why cartoons have displayed this as the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder. Who are you going to listen to? Who are we listening to? So let's first take accountability that there are, in fact, voices in your head. Excuse me, you're going to see a little gnat flying around here. I don't know where they're coming from. Somebody, I feel like in my apartment building, has an infestation of gnats. So if you see a little gnat in the video, he just wants to say hi to you.
Action. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Back to the show now.
Anyway, so back to talking about, us being able to recognize when we're in our higher self. You'll know you're living in your higher self when you do these things. When you choose peace over drama. When you decide to put yourself in that person's shoes that you are having an issue with and understand everyone is me and everyone is you and you are everyone. Meaning everyone is walking around. So say this is a mirror. And what do you see? You see yourself. So if you're doing that with everybody, this is how you're going to be able to learn to treat people how you want to be treated. This is how you're going to learn to be able to handle people with the white kid gloves, meaning gentle, kind, peace, love, understanding. See, when you are battling with a person, there's no way you're going to be coming to understanding. And another thing that I said this to my boss last week, that there's no one that's right or wrong in the situation. So there's not, we got to get over that I'm right, you're wrong. Who says that? Nobody's right or wrong, because we all are looking at things through different perspectives. So how is that happening? So this is how you can easily be able to choose peace over drama and know that, hey, I may have done something wrong in their eyes, or I may have offended them, or they have offended me. But let me not be easily offended and deal with this with understanding. So this is how you know that this is your higher self, is when you instantly decide to lead in peace. Another way that you could be able to show if you're dealing with your higher self is seek growth instead of comfort. So you're ever wanting to grow, ever wanting to learn. Like, not being like, okay, this is it. This is the last stopping point. That's it. I'm comfortable. I don't want to be made uncomfortable. And we know with God, he will make you uncomfortable to push you to grow. Because if he don't push you to grow and make you uncomfortable, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to do nothing. You're going to sit there and be la-di-da-di-da-di-da. So when you're operating in your higher self, you're going to seek to grow. You're going to seek growth, elevation. You're going to seek to grow your spirit and your knowledge. Knowledge is the key to growth. Remember that. You'll respond with love and patience instead of anger. And this is another thing. So when you are operating in your higher self, you're going to respond with love. You're going to respond with patience. So you're going to be patient with that person and not be upset because they offended you or made a mistake. This is, again, going back to seeking peace over drama. Because if you're seeking peace, then you don't have to work. If you're seeking peace, where is anger going to be able to rely? Two things cannot reside at one time. Remember that. Two things can't take up one space, one or the other. So at this point, you're going to be choosing to seek love and peace. And this is what Jesus taught us. How to seek understanding. How to lead in love and light. This is what he taught us. And this is why he was speaking to our higher selves. Our higher selves is the ones that Jesus was talking about. Okay? Another way that you would know that you're in your higher self, you feel aligned with your person and your purpose, and you're not chasing money and recognition. You feel more aligned with what God put in your life, the mission and the journey. You're more seeking that out. You're more focused on that. And you will notice if you're put in a situation that will take you out of alignment, because you're going to do what? You're going to lead in love, peace, and patience, so you can get back in alignment. And you know when you're out of alignment, because guess what? Guess what creeps in when you're out of alignment? Guilt. Guilt creeps in. And we know that the book tells us, the Bible definitely tells us, to know to do good and not to do it, that's sin unto you. So to know that, you shouldn't be quick to wrath and be angry with the person, and you should love your neighbor as you love yourself, immediately that's going to creep guilt in. Immediately you're going to know you're not making the right decision, and you're going to be in your lower self being that way. And if you're operating in your higher self, you're going to feel aligned. You're going to feel like you're walking in purpose. Another way to tell if you're operating your higher self is you trust your intuition and your inner voice. So your intuition is that God conscious, the God spirit telling you this is what you need to be doing. Have you ever said, I should have followed my first mind? I should have did that. Why didn't I follow my first mind? That's your intuition. That's your inner voice telling you, do this. But then you got your lower self saying, do that. No, you need to do that. And that's going to come in second. First is going to be your inner self. Second is going to be your lower self. So we have a choice. And God tells us, choose today. Choose life and live, or choose death and die. And all you're choosing, you need to choose what you're going to do. We have to make these choices, right? Another way that you're going to be able to tell if you're operating your higher self is you practice gratitude and forgiveness. So every day you're practicing and you are realizing the things that you are grateful for. Being grateful takes you a long way, because then you're not being ungrateful. You're not seeking out more. You're not in wanting. You're being happy with what you got, because when you're happy with what you got, guess what? More can come, right? It makes room for more can come. You're practicing forgiveness. You're not holding on to somebody cutting you off in the morning time. That took your whole damn day, and now guess what? You're not showing up in the mind. You're not showing up mentally. You know why? Because you're thinking about somebody cutting you off, and you allow that to take a chain of effect and steal your whole damn day from you. So now guess what? You're going to go to bed probably angry about getting cut off. No, forgive that person, because this is where our higher selves kicks in and tells us, well, guess what? That person that cut you off could have been in a rush to go to the hospital. That person they could have had a bad day. It gets you to being able to realize that if I was in this person's shoes and made these mistakes, what we call justify, giving them a reason on why we shouldn't take what they did wrong, how we should look at things at a better light. So when you are in your higher self, you're going to practice gratitude and you're going to practice forgiveness. Living in your higher self feels light. It's freeing, it's powerful. And you know why it's powerful? Because it's rooted in faith and alignment. So when you are moving in this, and this is what Jesus called the fruits of the Spirit, which I'm going to post them at the end of this video. But when you're moving in the fruits of the Spirit, which is your higher self, you're going to feel good. You know why? You're not going to feel shaky. You're not going to feel like somebody can come and steal your energy and have you on a whole different wave path, out of alignment, taking your energy. You're going to feel drained. You're not going to feel like I am giving and I am showing up in my purpose and walking in my purpose. You're not going to feel like that. You're not. When you're in your lower self, you really do not feel good at all. It's really not a good feeling. Okay? So now that we discussed signs you're living in your lower self, let's talk about benefits of living in your higher self. So when you step into yourself, your higher self, everything starts shifting. How does it start shifting? Your relationships become healthier, because guess what? Now you're practicing forgiveness, patience, love. You're starting to show up more in that area. You attract what you are, and this is what I'm saying. Everybody is you, and you are everybody. So you be that person. You say, I want more love. I want to be around more people that supports me. The things that you want, that's what you be. So you can attract those type of people around you. Okay? A lot of people don't realize that their life is a reflection of their mind. And this is why Jesus said, renew your mind. Renewing your mind is the way to the kingdom. It's the way to higher thinking. It's a way to a higher conscious, and not thinking on this lower level that will sit up here and harm others and harm yourself first. Your decisions become more clarity instead of chaos. So when you're making decisions more, you're more thinking them out. You're more giving it time. You're not haste and doing stuff out of haste, because when we do stuff out of haste, it just brings about a bunch of confusion, a bunch of chaos. And God moves in peace, love, and harmony. He don't move in chaos and confusion. And unfortunately, the world that we live in moves in chaos and confusion, because if it moved in love, peace, and harmony, would we be sitting up here fighting to live in our higher selves? it would easily be able for us to live in our higher selves, because we wouldn't have people around us that's living in their lower selves, doing things that we have to forgive them for. Being patient with people that has not got to your level yet. So let's understand that. Let that marinate for a little bit. Also, when you are, the benefits as well of living in your higher self is your inner peace grows. So you start feeling the peace. You start feeling the peace of oneness starting to grow. Okay, because this is why God say it's a body. We all are part of a body, and a body moves as one. Right? There's no schism. There's no schism. When life gets difficult, you stop repeating old cycles and you start create new paths and new cycles. And they say it takes 30 days to break a habit and 30 days to make a habit. So when you are moving, what I would say is one of the benefits of being in your higher self is you are starting to create new paths and new cycles that's going to help you live better, to help you live in peace, love, and harmony. Those old cycles, you'll start breaking them, and you'll find it more easier doing that, right? All right. So now that we talked about benefits of living in our higher self, let's talk about how to connect with your higher self. Because I know you're like, how do I connect with my higher self, right? So how do we move from the lower self into our higher self? For one, self-reflection. Spend time asking yourself, am I living out of fear or am I living in faith? How am I living? Because fear holds you back from doing what you need to do. So you want to spend time with yourself. Like I said, start out with taking 5 minutes to yourself and quiet everything down and sit and listen to your thoughts. Okay? Journal. I started journaling my day, writing my day down, documenting my life, documenting the changes I made. You know, because these are things that we need to do so we can be able to look at our growth to know actually what I'm doing is working, right? Another way to connect with your higher self is daily practices, like I just said, meditation, journaling, prayer, affirmations. And this affirmations is a good way to speak good to yourself, okay? Because when you are speaking bad to yourself and speaking bad of yourself, guess what? Guess what? Yourself hears that. And you start believing that you are those things. So affirmations are good to do. I like to do them in the morning. I like to speak them in the morning. I like to journal at night. I like to meditate at night and then in the morning. Prayer and supplication. So this is another way to connect with your higher self. Another way is healing work. So face your pain instead of avoiding it. So when you notice when you notice I got a mother wound or I got a father wound, instead of packing that up and filing it away and not unpacking the trauma and really unpacking it piece by piece and figuring out, why did this make me that way? Why did this take effect in my life? What steps do I need to move towards forgiveness and letting go? And then how can I release that so that's no longer a part of me? So let's start the healing work and facing the things that hurts us, the things that consistently comes back to mind and can take our freaking day away. Okay? The higher self thrives on truth. Okay? And this is why God is love. You know, God say truth. It'll set you free, because you will be enslaved to lies in your own mind as long as you keep feeding yourself lies and you keep believing the lies that you tell yourself. You have to move in truth. You have to tell yourself truth. You have to know the truth about yourself. And this all starts with yourself. And this is why self-work is important. We all need to do the work on ourselves in order to bring love, peace, and harmony into the world like Jesus needs us to do. He needs us to do that work. Show up and do that work, because Christ did it. And this is why he say, bear your cross. Bear your cross. Kill yourself daily. And I don't mean physically kill yourself, but kill those old ways. Kill your lower self daily, because it will creep up on you and get at you. Okay? And you can't have that. Let me tell y'all a quick detour real quick. I hate the detour, but I got to tell y'all about this. You know, I spent the last month, you know, I went through a lot of changes with negative thoughts, because when you realize you get a lot of more negative thoughts versus positive thoughts when you haven't mastered connecting with your higher self. So I'm like, how do I not let these negative thoughts rule my day? How do I not let these thoughts become me? So I started processing them and then looking at positive things. I wrote a whole list about things that I want. and stop thinking about the things I don't want. Because we notice when we think about the things we don't want, we normally attract them versus attracting the things that we want. So that is another way to be able to connect with your higher self and thrive on truth. Okay? Another way to connect with your higher self is service and love. So your higher self shines when you're using your gifts to uplift others. And as I was just on my TikTok live, I was telling some of the brothers I used to go to church with, I was telling them that I love to be at a service of God. I love to show up and be at that front door greeting people on the Sabbath. I love being in the kids class teaching the kids about God. I love being on the feast committee helping people be able to enjoy God's feast. I love being on the outreach committee to be able to, reach out to others. And me and my family, we were doing a homeless movement, going out, feeding the homeless and stuff. I love that. So know that the way to connect with your higher self is service and love. Be at a service and show genuine love. Because if you want somebody to be at a service to you, guess what? It starts with you. It starts with you. So be at a service. Show up. Volunteer. If somebody needs you to help them and they're hitting around, they need help, check in with them. It's okay to check in with them. Another way to connect with your higher self, and this is the last one, is discipline. Okay? And I could use discipline. And it's not just discipline in making bad decisions, but discipline in my finance, discipline in being aligned, discipline in making better decisions. So choosing long-term growth over short-term growth. Let's go for the long haul. I'm making this decision today. I'm building brick by brick, piece by piece. Because as God tells us, this is a marathon. It's not a race. Okay? This is not a test. You get to look at other people's answers and it's right. No, this is about you and how you going to get to the finish line. And how do we get to the finish line? By choosing long-term growth over short-term growth. By, getting out of being comfortable and getting into being made uncomfortable so we can push ourselves to grow. So discipline yourself. And I've been working on that. I've been working on discipline. Because if you love yourself, you're going to discipline yourself to make sure you stay aligned. Okay? So, in closing, living in your higher self is not about being perfect, y'all. And that's what I said when I did my Be Present video. It's not about being perfect. Because take it one day at a time. Take these steps one day at a time to better yourself and watch how your life change piece by piece. Remember, this is a marathon. It's not a race, baby. So take your time, okay? It's about being intentional. So set good intentions when you're doing these things. And that's what God wants us to do. That's what Christ wants us to do, is be intentional with everything that we do and make sure it's good intentions. Because remember, to know to do good and not to do it, that's sin unto you, baby. Okay? Every choice you make is either feeding your higher self and your lower self. Remember, we got the devil and the angel. Who are you choosing to listen to? Know that each choice that is presented is going to be a choice from your higher self and a choice from your lower self. Who are you going to listen to? Who's leading your life? Who's leading your decision making? These are things that you can journal about and think about to help renew your mind. Because this podcast is simply about freeing our minds, about renewing our minds the way Christ wants us to do, so we can be able to be the love, peace, and harmony in the world. Okay? Your power, your peace, and purpose is living in your higher self. So your power, it's more power being in your higher self than it is being in your lower self. And this, you will find that once you start practicing more, and consistency is the key. Here I am swiping that gnat away. And I feel bad because I don't want to kill it, but I want him to not be doing too much. But consistency is the key. So you got to keep at it. And it's not an easy journey, but each day that you are applying yourself every day, you will eventually see the results, y'all. Okay? So as I was saying, your power, your peace, your purpose, living in your higher self, that is where true freedoms begins. And remember, this is Free Your Mind podcast. So of course, everything that we talk about is going to be steps towards freeing your mind and elevating your conscience. So I want to thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Free Mind Podcast. And if this conversation's encouraged you, motivated you, if you resonated with this, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Also put in the comments below, hey, this resonated. If you got some input to put in it, go ahead and comment below. I love the comments and the feedback, please. Not only do you need to like, subscribe, and comment, catch me on TikTok 6 a.m. every morning for daily motivation and helping you stay present in your day. Okay? So until next time, stay free, stay mindful, and keep raising your higher self. Keep being aware. Each day is a day for you to show up and live in your higher self. Thank you for joining me. You might want to run and go set your alarm. Set your alarm for 6 a.m., maybe 5:45. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you're here at my live at 6 a.m. We will be doing my morning get ready routine and also spreading good positive energy to get you to a quick boost and a kickstart of your day. So don't forget to set that alarm and meet me in my live Monday through Friday at 6 a.m.